Good morning. Welcome to, checking to make sure that everything is okay. Welcome to the Saturday live stream. Today is Saturday, July 25th. How's it going? My name is Angela. I'm a front-end developer and a software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we practice good old-fashioned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript front-end development. Oh, hang on. It's like a little thing. Okay. Rushing. I actually have been up since, when have I been up since? I got up early this morning and I got busy doing other things, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get ready. So here we are. How's it going? We had such a good week building our YouTube transcript database. We're basically done with all of the database API functionality. We got all that stuff figured out this week. This weekend is just styling. It's a private database. It's only meant to be run on the desktop, on my system, my local environment. We are going to build a public version of this database in two projects. 2 projects from now, we're going to set up, well, we will have an Express server set up, and we're going to connect to the database and build a new API and a public version of this project, which I'm really excited about. And then next weekend, we're going to start another database full stack app, completely new project called, what's wrong with my chair? There we go. Called the Jane Austen database, because I was just like, I really want to build another one of these things. This is before I decided that I could make my transcript database. I could build a second version of an API that is public, that doesn't expose the transcripts. I mean, in the private version that we have now, It doesn't expose the transcripts. I didn't realize though until this week when I was really sitting and looking through the file structure, I noticed that the database wasn't being tracked in Git. And I thought, okay, I mean, it took me about a minute to think about it, and then I was like, okay, the reason for that is probably because it's basically an artifact of the transcripts themselves. The transcript repository is totally private. That's in a private repository. I would never give that away for free. I don't even think I would give it away for money, although it depends on how much money somebody offered me for it, but I don't think anybody would offer me any money for it. Okay, besides the point, the transcripts are private, and I thought the database is really just a result of the transcripts and the importer. So I was like, I think that means that I can make the repository public. We're not tracking the database, so I could still make the project public because the database and the transcripts are private. And then I thought, oh, that means that I could probably just build another version of the API with a little less information, because the whole point of the filtering tool is that I'm mining my own ideas and I'm getting a list of transcripts, and then I would give that list of transcripts to Codex or Claude. I'm using Codex, but I'm honestly thinking about signing up for Claude because I just want to see what all the fuss is about. Not important. I would feed that list of transcripts to Codex. And so I'll tell you, I'll give you the example that I'm literally working on right now, which is that I've started writing an accessibility ebook. And it was so amazing. I ended up doing it by project because I don't have the full database built yet, but I'm still getting really good results. And I'm in the process of writing this ebook, and it is my approach to accessibility. It's how I teach accessibility. It's the words that I speak. It's not Codex, what they think accessibility is. It's not ChatGPT or what OpenAI says accessibility is. It's me. It's my words. So now, and I think we've demonstrated this all week if you've been here, the ways that I'm searching either through the excerpts themselves or the titles to come up with different transcripts, different excerpts. And one of the coolest features, I'll give ChatGPT some credit for this, although I get credit first because I was documenting the timestamps, but ChatGPT is like, we could link to the exact timestamp, the exact moment in the video where you are saying those words. And we did it. We tested it. Now, I think one didn't work so well, but like the majority of them worked beautifully. We could click that link, go to the video. It has a timestamp in the URL, and we could hear me say the words that were in the excerpt. I mean, how cool is that? And I wanted to do that because I thought I don't have a ton of context for these excerpts. And now we did sort of solve that problem because we added 2 excerpts before and 2 excerpts after. So we did add more context to the excerpts, but even then, reading those excerpts and then being able to click the link, go right to the video and hear me speaking those words. I mean, how cool is it? Yeah, so let's just get started. I don't know, man. This is for sure one of my better ideas. Okay, let me finish this other thing that I was working on and close it. I don't have anything open yet. All right, is that shocking? No, it's not. Okay. Also, allergies, and I have a runny nose. So hang on one second, okay? Hold please. I'll be right back. All right. Let's get her up and running. How's everybody doing? Are you having a good week? I hope so. I think we're going to have a nice weekend because we're at the part of the project now where is my camera? I made some adjustments. Hang on one second. There we go. I think that'll be okay. I adjusted the light, I adjusted the camera. I don't know, man. This is the hardest part of all of this is the effing lighting. It's I sometimes I see my lighting and I'm like, yeah, it looks good. And other times I'm just like, what is happening? So I moved the light. It's a little different, but I think it's okay. You know what? We just have to forge on. Here's the thing about YouTube and the creators we really, really love. Does it I know that there are people I watch that maybe have terrible lighting, or I watch, there's somebody that I watch every single day. Well, Monday through Friday. She goes live every single morning for anywhere from 3 to 5 hours every single day. Some days she doesn't even have her camera on. She's just driving around in her car. She has adult children. She's taking them to work, dropping them off at school, getting a coffee at her local coffee shop, going to the local thrift store. Sometimes she's in her studio. She has like a MacBook. She doesn't even, I don't even think she has a dedicated camera. I think she uses the camera in her computer and she doesn't use a microphone at all. No production quality whatsoever. But I genuinely love her. I find her so interesting. She's funny, clever. She can be a little mean, but it's still pretty funny. And I don't care about her production value because I like her and I watch her. So I have to remind myself sometimes, Angela, it doesn't matter. You're doing good work. You're doing work that you believe in, and if people enjoy it, they're not going to care. They're not going to care. So, anyways, should we get the chat ready? So many things. So many things. I mean, we want good production quality, but also at some point you just have to show up and do the actual work and not worry about it. So, okay, there it is. Shalom is here and says, hello. Hello, welcome. And so is Monique Robinson. Monique Robinson is our mod in the chat. Welcome, Monique. Yeah, so there's that. I have so many thoughts, so many things happening right now. Nothing bad, all good things happening. I just have so many thoughts. Coming up on the 2-year anniversary of this channel, which is August 11th. So that's in about, yeah, like about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I don't know. I just have so many thoughts. I love being on YouTube. I love that I've turned this into a regular thing. I wish the channel was growing a little faster. I also acknowledge that I'm not really making the kind of content that grows an audience at a really fast pace. I know that. And I'm trying to figure that out. And when I say I'm trying to figure it out, I don't mean that I literally don't understand. I do understand. I'm trying to figure out how I like make that a part of my I I don't love making that type of content. I like it. I don't love it. But if I don't do it, I'm not going to grow. So I don't know. I'm figuring it out. What I love is this. I love going live. I love talking through how I build things. I love sharing my ideas. I love the problem solving. I love when people come into my chat and they say things like, oh my gosh, you inspired me to learn how to do this thing. Or you inspired you. I wasn't sure if I wanted to learn development, but I watched you and you inspired me to take the time to learn. Or I don't know. That's the stuff that I love. That's the stuff that I think is really cool. So, also, speaking of growing, whoops, wrong one. Would you be so kind as to like and subscribe? I would appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. Speaking of which, helps the algorithm, helps get this pushed out to more people who might be interested in this type of content, and I would appreciate it. Uh-oh, I have to sneeze. Hold, please. Ooh. All right, I'm back. Allergies. And I'm also like, not to get too personal, but I have like eczema, and I can go a couple of years and be just fine, and then all of a sudden it'll just flare up, and I'm dealing with a flare up right now, and it's so itchy and I don't feel good, and I just feel like a big whiny baby. So there's that. Anyways, okay. So we're gonna work on our UI this weekend. All of our functionality, boom, good to go. I'm gonna start things up here. I know it kind of defeats the purpose of an IDE, but real estate. Precious, precious real estate. You know? And I think we are going to need app.js. Let's get this open. Quiet crowd today. That's okay. That's no problem. Not complaining. Just an observation. Okay. She's pretty ugly. So here's what I'm thinking about doing. I was thinking like, oh, I bet we could just spend a little time in Affinity Photo. We could do a mock-up. Eventually, the public version of my API and database, we are going to rebuild, and I'm going to put on my website. And I thought, okay, why don't we do something like, so here's a page on my website where I have this background, and I have the content area that is over top of the background. Why don't we just do something like this for the desktop version? Again, it's private, it's just for me, but I will eventually build it to look something like this anyways once we do the public version for my site. So why not? Why not? Let me show you how I would do this. And also so this is, I mean, I spent very real time last year designing this, putting thought into it, making it accessible and responsive. So I don't think there's anything wrong with using this as an actual guide. Yeah, so let's do it. Let's do it. Let me make sure that I have, let's put in a folder for some images. Are we going to need SVGs? Yes, we'll need SVGs because I'm going to put SVGs in for the form dropdowns. So we'll do SVGs. This is in the wrong spot. And then let's grab, I think we just need an arrow or a chevron, right? Chevron. So we'll do this. Go to our projects, database, client, SVGs. What else do we need? I still like the mint. We'll use the mint as an accent color. I also still like the graphite. We'll use the graphite as our text color. Should we grab some fonts? What font? Well, what fonts am I using here? I don't remember. I am using Cormorant. What else am I using? I think I'll bet you anything this is Lato. Yes. Yeah, we can use those. What's in the cart? We could use these too. I think we used these in our last what was our last project? Oh, it was the practice layouts. Cormorant. We can use this. I like having a serif font for like headings or the forms. And then we could use Lato. We could also use, oh, Laura is also a serif font. Let's just look at all the serifs. I was also thinking I really like Montserrat. I'm actually using that on something else right now. Montserrat. Default 1.23. I usually do 1.65. There's 1.75, which isn't very much. I didn't see any change. Oh, that's why. Should we do Montserrat? Let's do Montserrat. Let's just do Montserrat for the whole thing. I like Montserrat. I'm using that right now for some print design stuff that I'm working on. Yeah. And then we only have to load one. So we'll get the embed code. Hopefully this will work. It's an outside link. It's not an internal link, so I think it'll be okay. Put this in our CSS file. This is the fun part, you guys, where we get to work on just the good old front end, right? All right. And then let's make sure that this works. I want to make sure we're not duplicating anything. Yes. Doesn't that make a huge difference already? I think so. Let's take out this gradient, this background gradient. Let's just go back to white. But we'll keep graphite as our text color. Ooh, this is the fun part. And then let's make sure that our inputs have a border. So I think our border by default, we'll do the graphite as a border. It has to be accessible. Just until we think of something better. I don't think we can use the mint. That mint is not going to be accessible. Yeah, this is a much darker green. Let's check and see. Let's put our, although we did choose a green color, was the green accessible against white? I don't remember. Don't remember. Color, contrast, checker. So background white, foreground. Nope. Okay, so let's just. I mean, I don't want it to be like green green. I still want it to be like a version, something like that. Not quite. Something kind of mossy. I like that. It's a little foresty. Ooh, that's very close. Although it passes for graphical objects and large text. So as long as we keep our normal text, let's just nudge it up a little bit. I wish that this would change in real time. That's what I wish. I mean, I like the green though. This looks cool, right? Let's do this. So this will be our accessible green color. We'll use this around the inputs, and we'll use this for our headers. And then we can still do, I'm going to call this dark green. And then we could still use mint and green as accents because you know that I love a nice dotted border. Yes. So I think we still have opportunities to use these other shades of green. Let me find that image. We're going to use that image because I am just such a fan of that. I mean, these types of images were a big deal, like, honestly, 10 years ago. Well, 10 years ago was 2026. Yeah, I mean, or excuse me, 2016, 2014, 2015, these types of images were really popular. What are they? What are they called? Low poly geometric images. That's why I have these. I have a bunch of them because I downloaded them as stock photos 10 years ago. Longer than that, honestly. Let me see. Just low poly geometric. Okay, I found the original. Let me find an optimized version. There we go. Perfect. And Malik Robinson is here. Malik is our other mod in the chat. No, that's fine. Okay, so here's our other image. Perfect. So we have a background color. Where do we want to put this image? I mean, I think we can do a background color and a background image. There's nothing that says we can't do both. We just want to put the image first because we want them to stack, right? Where do we want to put that? Yeah, I think this will work. Take out this gradient. So we'll do URL, and this would be, is it going to let us grab things from this folder? Because it was so weird about the style sheet link. Okay. And we know that this is going to be no repeat. Am I putting this in the right place? I think so. Oh, we'll just do background. Then we can do no repeat. Fixed. Angela, spell. No repeat, fixed. Right, we can put in the keyword fixed for fixed positioning. Can't we? My God, how long has it been since I've done this? Since I put in a background image. What are the properties? I don't remember. I very rarely put in background images. Global values. Let me see here. No, let's just do background. No repeat. Scaled. I think I would just want it to be I think I have to put, I'm just going to do background image because the other CSS3 properties I want to use. So we'll do those separately. Okay. Background repeat, no repeat. Background size. We're going to say, I think we're going to say contain. I don't want it to cover because that's going to take up the entire space and I just want it to be contained. Background position. I'm going to say center top. Where are we? Oh, and it has to be fixed also. But also, is this even? Yeah. Is that the? So we have to, it won't, okay. Where's the thing where we like registered it? I don't remember. I feel like we have to put this someplace. But I don't remember where. These are the transcript directories. Data, that's the scripts. I think this is the import script. I think this is the database script. Server, routes. It's here someplace. No. Hang on, we're fine. Well, I'm gonna find it. So we know that we had to like register style.css. So what happens if we search for style.css? Static.js. This is where it goes. Okay. So static files, new map. Yeah, I think I can just Do I have to have this even to get things out of the image folder? I'm guessing yes. Images, path, client, images, content type. Um, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't want to ask for help. I just want to know how to do it. Um, so I have to make sure that we can get the images from that folder. So here's what's annoying about this. I think that I think that maybe this is something that I need to learn about vibe coding or getting AI to do my back end for me. It's that I have to tell it, oh, yeah, I'm doing the front end myself. Can you please put everything in place to make sure I can actually do the front end? Like, why do I have to ask you to make sure that I can access images from an image folder? Why do I have to do that? Um, you should just know when I say I'm going to do I'm going to do the front end myself that those things are available. But oh no, I got to ask. I got to ask for help. Okay, so let's crack open Codex and let's just, yeah, I don't think we're going to have to ask anything else, but I guess I just feel annoyed. Try ChatGPT voice, orchestrate tasks, connect tools, and explore code. I'm getting other things right now in the browser version of ChatGPT, which is ChatGPT ads. They want me to run ads in ChatGPT. Okay, so now I know how you're going to monetize. Not surprising. But no, I'm not going to run ads in ChatGPT. So, you want me to pay you to use the service and you want me to pay you to run ads? No, aren't you already scraping all the public GitHub repos? Aren't you using every bit of information that I put into you to learn and to give away to other people? Now you also want me to pay you to run ads? No, ma'am. Okay. I'm trying. Okay. I added an images directory in my client folder, but I can't access the images. They return a 404 in the browser. I should not, oh my God, I should not have to do something special every time I add a new folder to client. I'm building the front end myself. Okay, I don't know. Just figure it out. Hard-coded static file allow list. So every new asset path requires a server edit. I'll replace the allow list with safe general static server serving rooted at client, including path traversal protection and appropriate content types so new front-end folders work automatically. Wonderful. Hold, please. Okay. And Oslo is here. Welcome. Good morning, Oslo. Okay. Any regular file under client can be requested by its relative URL, while traversal and symlink escapes are rejected. I've added coverage for CSS, nested JPEG and SVG assets, and attempted access outside client. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, we'll put that on our list of things that we know we need to ask for in the future. I mean, honestly, that would be probably smart to make a list like that anyways, right? Okay. Now where's my image? All that fuss. My image isn't even showing up. It's here. Let's check the network tab. Whoops, I'm at network. I need to make this a little smaller. No, it's not here. Why? Why aren't you here? Okay, how come you're not working? What's going on here? You're in the folder. Oh, it's an alias. God. Apple, some days I hate you. You make my life difficult. I forgot about this. Okay. Every time I copy from, I don't even think this is an Apple problem. Fine, Apple, I take it back. I don't hate you. Um, Here's what's happening. I made a copy of a photo from MAMP because I use MAMP to run my personal website locally. And every time I do that, it's always a symlink. Anytime I copy something from MAMP, it is always a symlink. It never just copies it. I don't know why. It's so annoying. Yep, there it is. Okay, let's see if I can. That's why we couldn't see it. No, it's still a symlink. I'm trying to remember. I don't know how to copy you over. Oh my God. I'm going to lose my mind. Okay. Once and for all. How to copy from htdocs, not a sim link. To copy actual files and folders from an htdocs directory instead of just copying the symbolic link, use the deference flag with your copy. Find the real target path first. Run. Oh my God. Okay. All right. I just need the effing image. I think that worked. Okay, hang on. I think that worked. No. Oh, I have to rename it. Hang on. Finally. Okay. Sorry about that. So here's what what did I finally do? I have to make a note of this. I think I held down Option and Command and dragged it over, and that finally worked. So, okay. Option Command. Hopefully I'll remember that. All right. Nice. Okay, so we have to figure out now how to get this. Let's put this down at the bottom. Okay. Why aren't these next to each other? Oh my God. Is anything going to go right today? Or is everything just going to suck? Oh, now, okay. Now you're doing it. All right. let's just get this figured out here. Contain, we needed to contain center top. See, I don't want this to be cover. Maybe we just want it to be I want it to be contain. Oh, is this because the fixed? Maybe we just need background. Size attachment. There we go. Background attachment. We were just missing. Okay. I'm done with you. I don't want to use ChatGPT anymore this weekend. I just want to be done with ChatGPT. I'm tired of you. But you know what? This is real development. Kind of getting pissed off, arguing with ChatGPT, Googling things happening, getting annoyed. It's just like a totally normal part of the process, right? We need this to be fixed. Okay. Now I'm happy with what we got here. So obviously this isn't we don't want these things sitting over top of the image. So here's where we just put a background around this container now. So this is the main. I'll do different styling for the header that is accessible over top of this. So we're going to give main a background, and it's just going to sit over top of this. It's going to look really cool. Our body. Here's our main. Whoops. Give this some background color of white. Do I not have white? No, I don't even have white up here. There we go. And then let's also make sure that our footer has a background color of white. And I think our main, we'll make sure these two things are together. Actually, the footer, well, we'll give this a minimum. We'll give this a minimum height. Yeah. There we go. This is the look that I was going for. I mean, not the text necessarily, but oh, that doesn't look too good, huh? What is this image still not? Why is our image still not taking up the full back end? And why can't I get this to lay out correctly down here? Vertical. There. Why wouldn't it do it before? Okay, what's going on with this image? I don't understand. I don't want cover. Maybe we just don't need contain. But I don't want it to go. How did I do it here? Oh, I put it in a div is what I did. And I made the div position absolute. And then I just did the background inside. You know, I think that I'll just go ahead and we'll do fixed, we'll do cover, we'll do center, and it can just cover the whole backside. And I think that's fine. And then everything else will just scroll over top of the image. And I'm not going to worry about it. Boy, we're off to a heck of a start today, aren't we? Okay. So here's our main. What's going on? The wrap. Okay. So our wrap has margin. We should really resize the main, not the wrap. So that's fine. We can do that. So I'm actually going to take the wrap out and we'll let the main be the container. That is fine. It's going to be a little cleaner. So we'll do this instead. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry about that. I'm going to put this here. So I just took out the wrap. There we go. And then we can put in some padding. So we'll put in like 4 rems of padding all the way around. There we go. Maybe that's a little bit much. The other thing that I really want to do is, this is really blown up. So if we go back to 100%, let's literally make this just so much bigger. And now that we know that we're just going to stick that background right onto the back side and not try to resize it, we can go back to the side here. There we go. So let's just make this so much bigger so we don't all constantly have to zoom in on it. So I think the main could be, maybe instead of 50, we could go 75. That looks good. And then we'll make the inputs a lot bigger, and we'll just make our text size a lot bigger in general. There we go. And then our inputs have padding of 1 rem. Let's change it to 2 rems. There we go. That's pretty big. Maybe instead of 2 rems, we could do 1 rem, but we could give this some line height. Maybe that's another way to do it. Oops. We'll double the line height. But that's really only going to impact this. There, that's a little bigger. And then our labels are pretty small, so we'll increase those. That's 0.8. We'll go back to 1 rem. There. And then let's make our borders here, instead of graphite, we'll do the dark green. I don't know if it makes a huge difference. We'll make our labels green. let's give the top a border. Let's also make sure that this has a minimum height. And then that's also going to push this down. Let's resize the header first. So this H1 is pretty small. The font size is 2 Ms, which is the browser default. We can make that a lot bigger. So we could do something like font size, maybe 4 rems, font weight, 600. That's pretty thick. 500. Color can be white. And then we can also give it some text shadow. So we'll go font size. What did I say? 4 rems. Font weight will go 600. Did I say 600 or 500? 500. 500. Color can be white. Give it some little bit of text shadow. Text shadow is XY. I think it's just XY blur, right? And we'll go, we want black. There we go. It's a little harsh. Let's give it a little extra. There we go. Just helps it stand off the page a little bit. And then let's give our H1 a little extra margin on the bottom, just to push it down a little bit. And then let's give the top of our main content area a border. Border top, we'll say 5 pixels, solid. And we'll just go with green. There we go. That actually feels a little bit big to me. Let's go with 3. There, I think that seems okay. There. Nice halfway point. Okay, I'm going to add a little more padding to the main. I think 2 rems on the top and bottom is fine. I'd like to see 3 rems on the left and right. Just pull it in a little bit. There we go. We obviously need to restyle our buttons, but this is already a lot better, right? And then let's increase our text size, our font size. So our font size right now is 100% on the body. Let's make our font size for inputs and selects a little bit bigger. So maybe our font size is 1.5 rems. Oh, that's a little big. Maybe 1.25 rems. And then let's change the color. Seems kind of dark, right? And this is Montserrat, right? It looks like it. Does this have a font family? No. See, I didn't think so. Montserrat's crossed out. See, font family is crossed out. What's the default value? It doesn't look like... I mean, maybe it is. It's hard to tell. So let's add our font family to the selects because it doesn't look like it's inheriting it. There we go. That makes a huge difference. And I think we have variable. I mean, I think we have variable sizes, right? Yeah, that's what that looks like. I think 500 would be too much, so let's try 450. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. I love it. Okay. Isn't this already looking better? I think so. Okay, let's take care of this. Oh, okay. One thing at a time. Let's make sure that this has a minimum height so we're not seeing all this empty space down here. I mean, it's obviously going to get filled in as soon as we search. But I want this to be filled in. Well, this is a lot. And honestly, I still can't see it. I would still have to zoom in on this. Maybe it's okay to zoom. Maybe I just need to, maybe I'm just at the stage of my life where I have to zoom in on things. Is this my zoom era? It might be. This is at least better than it was. Okay. We're not going to worry about the results. But here's what we need to do. We need to make sure that this has a minimum height. So what do we want to calculate the minimum height as? Usually what I do is I calculate the minimum height in the event that I need to calculate a minimum height. I used to do it all the time. I don't do it that much anymore. It would be like 100 VH minus the header minus the footer. But we've also got padding to take into account. So maybe we can just do something like min height 100 VH. I mean, if we do that, then we're going to have a lot. Oh, maybe that's not too bad. I mean, maybe we can just wing it and it doesn't matter that much. Maybe we could just do 85 and we could just kind of wing it. It has a little scroll, but I'm going to check this on my Mac or on my main screen. Actually, that's pretty good. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think it needs to be exact. Just something where, and then we'll make sure that our footer, has styles too. Okay, I can live with that. So we'll do a minimum height. Where's our main? Here it is. So we'll do a minimum height. Oops. Of 85 VH. There. Okay. I'm not worrying about doing any responsive styles because this is really only meant to be seen on desktop. So I'm just not worried about it. Okay, let's get our SVGs in over top of our dropdowns. So in order to do that, ideally, when we've got our select, what we're going to need to do, what we need to do is we need to move the label outside of the select, because we have to position the SVGs relative to a parent container to put them over top. And you have to have a container around the select in order to do that. That's okay though, because the labels are still accessible. We have for mode with an ID of mode, so it can still live outside of this container and be accessible. But we do need that for styling. So let's do that now. So we're really just going to take the label and move it outside. There. Oh, actually, you know why that's not going to work? The divs were there for grid. That's why. So that's not going to work. Now we've got an extra container. Okay, so we have to, that means we have to add a div. So we have to put another div around the selects. You know what? It's not the end of the world. So we'll just do div select wrap. Oops. And then it will, everything will be positioned relative to that. It's going to be great. So now we have our select wrap, which is a perfect container over the select. All right. I would also like to embed the SVGs. So if we could put the SVGs here, that would be so nice. And then we could use the select as the parent container. Does not work. I've tried it. I've tried it more than once. It does not work. So let's put in aria hidden true. And we'll put this in all of them. So it's just going to come immediately after the actual select. You could definitely do this with JavaScript. We have full access to our HTML document. So my preference is always to embed it. Okay. And hello, Sack is here. Hopefully that's the correct name. Sack, hello. And Game Clips is here. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out. Okay, so now we have our select wrap. Whoops. Don't need this. On our select, we are going to have to say appearance none to get rid of that order built-in browser arrow, right? So we'll say select appearance none. And then on the select wrap, which really we should put this first, we're going to say position relative, whoops, position relative. And then here on the select, or it's really the select wrap SVG. This is going to be position absolute. And I'm going to say top 50%, right. We'll say 1 rem. We'll probably adjust that. And then I'm going to say translate, transform. Oh, am I doing this backwards? Transform, translate on the x-axis, no, on the y-axis, because it's vertical, negative 50%. And that will put that SVG right in the middle. We also need to make sure our SVGs are display block, because SVGs by default are display inline. And if you change them to display block, they will be much easier to style. So once it's display block, we can give it a width and a height of 1 rem. And I'm pretty sure, let's see here, they either have a stroke or a fill. So they have stroke current color, which I don't like. So I'm going to take that out and take out stroke current color. If we leave that in, it's going to take on, I think, graphite as the current color. And I want to put in my own color. So we'll say stroke dark green. There it is. They're pretty small. We can make them a little bit bigger, maybe 1.5 rems. There, now we have some nice little, here's the other thing. Can you see? I can't click it. I can't click it. That's because the SVG is literally covering it up. So if you try to click the SVG itself, you won't be able to open the select. The easiest way to deal with that is on our select wrap SVG, we'll say pointer events, none. Now we can click and we have our own arrows. Nice. Nice. And I think that this is positioned really well as well. Yeah, I think that looks great. Now let's style our buttons. I'm actually going to, our buttons are here. I'm going to put a div around these buttons. I don't like having a submit and a reset right next to each other. I don't think it's as big a deal on this form, especially because, I mean, there aren't that many options here. I do like including reset forms anytime I do forms because I just think they're a good user experience. The problem is that if you put them right next to each other and you make them and you style them the same, somebody could accidentally hit reset. And if they're doing that on a big form, it could be really annoying. So I like to make sure that the reset looks completely different than the submit. So let's put a container around our submit buttons. And I'm just going to say submit wrap. What was I doing here? Probably want that to be right here. So here's the select, and then we have, well, actually this would be, so I wonder why I thought that I had to be more specific than that. I think we don't need this, and we could just do this. Yeah. Okay, so now let's do our submit buttons. submit wrap. I'm going to say display flex, flex flow, row, no wrap. And then we will justify content space between. Should put the first one all the way on the left and the second one all the way on the right. And then we'll say align items center. There. And then this one I'm going to style to look like a link. And this one I'm going to style to look like a button. So there's no confusion. So it's easy to reset and it's easy to search. And you're never accidentally clicking the wrong button. First, let's make sure that our buttons, we'll do it right up here. Buttons by default are display inline black, which makes them pretty easy to style. But if you need to change the display property, you obviously you can. I'm not going to change anything. So I'm going to say appearance none. Actually, I'm just going to do this manually. Padding 0. Background color transparent, border none, and then let's make sure that there's a cursor anytime we hover. Where's our cursor? Why don't we have our cursor? It could be because why isn't the cursor working? Oh, cursor pointer. Cursor pointer, Angela. There we go. Okay, hang on. There we go. Now we're cursor pointer. Okay, so first our reset button. So we'll come back down here to our submit wrap. And we've got button type reset. Type equals reset. And we'll say color. I guess our green color. Whoops. Dark green. And then we'll say text decoration. We'll give it an underline. And then we'll say text decoration color. We'll also make that green. Text underline offset. We'll do 2 pixels. And then we'll say text what is it? Text decoration color, text underline offset is a text decoration thickness. We'll do 3 pixels. There we go. That doesn't look quite right, does it? Let's switch these. We'll do an offset of 3 pixels and we'll do a thickness of 2 pixels. There we go. And then we'll give this a hover active focus. I think I'm going to keep the normal links blue. I don't think I'm going to make the links green. We'll keep the normal links as blue, but I think for this, that this will work. And I think I'm going to change the offset to 2 pixels. There we go. Okay, now let's give this a hover, focus hover active. So we'll do focus. Hover active. And The focus hover active is that we are going to transition the text decoration color. So right now it's dark green. We're just going to transition it to transparent. And then let's transition that. Transition. Text decoration color. 300 milliseconds. Ease in, out. That's a transition that I like. Use whatever works for you. There we go. There's our reset button. So it's still a button, it's just styled to look unique. Now, here's our button. We'll make all the other button styles consistent. And I don't know, I think this can go back up with our button styles. It doesn't need to be all the way down here. So we'll put that right there, but we'll do generic button styles for everything else. So we'll say, I'm going to say padding 1 rem on the top and bottom, 1.5 rems on the left and right. We'll give this a border of 2 pixels, solid, and we'll do the dark green. And then we'll do a background color of transparent and a color of dark green. Looks like a pretty standard button. Oh, and let's make sure this doesn't have a border or padding. There we go. And I'm going to reduce this a little bit on the top and bottom. And then let's actually invert these colors. So we'll keep the border, but we'll make the background color also green. And we'll make the text color white. Okay, we have to specify that as well. Okay. And then we'll give this a hover, focus hover active. Oops. So we're going to invert this now. We'll say color should be dark green. And the background color should be transparent. Switch these. And then we'll give this a transition. And I'm going to give this the same timing, 300 milliseconds, ease in, out, because I just really like that. Oh, and color, not just background color, but also color. So comma color, 300 milliseconds, ease in, out. There we go. Now you can see them changing at the same time. And you don't actually have to click on the search button. You can just hit the return key when you search. So I can, there. This is shaping up. This is starting to look nice. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of working, right? We get like the background, the page, the form itself kind of situated today, and then tomorrow we can spend our remaining time getting our results looking the way we want to. That's a perfect use of this weekend, I think, right? And then we can reset. Perfect. 69 transcripts and 99,256 excerpts available. We can make this a little more prominent. The other thing that we should do is, if we're searching titles, I think, well, this doesn't really change. This wouldn't change based on the results, but we can make this a little more prominent at least. So this is the metadata status. So we can style this. So I'm going to say text align center. We can make the font size a little more prominent, maybe 1.5 rems. And we can change the color to dark green. Where are you? Is that not metadata status? Oh, it's an ID. Okay, fine. There we go. It's kind of big. Okay. And then I can put like a border under this, I guess. Something. Jazz it up a little. So here's our metadata status. We could do border bottom, 3 pixels, dotted. We'll do our mint color. It already has margin because it's a paragraph tag. So the default margin is 1em. So we'll change the, we'll say padding 2 rems, well, on the bottom. And then we'll say margin 2 rems on the bottom. And that should put the border right in between. That's pretty light. There. It's not too bad. I wish this green color was accessible. We checked that, right? Is that the one we checked? Yeah, we did. It's definitely not accessible. It's a bummer. I think the dark green is just a little too dark. I like that. Is that too dark though? So this works for large text and graphical user interfaces. And once again, I'm the only one using it, but you know, I want it to be cute and I want it to be accessible. I mean, I kind of like that. I wish the dots didn't stretch all the way, but I think that we can change the width of this container. The paragraph tags by default are block level elements, so they're automatically have a width of 100%. They take up the full width, right? That's what block level elements do. I think though that we could do something like max width. What is the maximum character count for accessibility? Like 80 characters, which we are well within. So that's going to change the width of the container, right? Max width 80 characters. Or I guess maybe we could just do width instead of max width. What's happening? You should not be that wide. Oh, maybe that was 80 characters. Okay. Let's just do something like this. We could do 40. We're still well within 40. And then we would change this to auto, which centers it. So we'll change this to auto. We'll give this a max width of 50 characters. There we go. Okay, that's fine. What do we think? Let's make this bold. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever made. I think everything could be a little bit bolder, like maybe on the body. Font weight. Take advantage of some of the, yeah, that helps. How does this look at 100%? I mean, it looks better than it did. Let's do something with this footer. So let's see here. Do we have a class on our footer? We'll do style that footer. Doesn't need to be super fancy. Maybe on our footer we can do a, well, our dark green isn't technically all that accessible, is it? Hmm. So if we use it, oh, but it passes for large text. Large text is defined as 14 points, typically 18.66 pixels and bold or larger. 18 points, typically 24 pixels or larger. Okay, we'll just have a giant footer. Oops. Background color. To our dark green. Color. White. And we'll do text align center and font size 24 pixels. Makes it what, 1.5 rems? And we'll make it a little bit bold too. Font weight 600. Okay, and we need some padding. We'll make sure that we have 2 rems on the top and bottom, 1 on the left and right. I think this is a little. And then I think that this space down here is from the body. Yeah, so we'll do 0 on the bottom. There we go. Oh, and this is because we have padding on the left and right on the body too. That's generally why you don't do that. Okay, that's fine. So we will make our footer the same size as our main container. This is not a typical experience at all. I'm not working from a mock-up. I didn't do my normal set of like global styles that I would normally do for a landing page or a complete website because I was thinking about this as just being like local, not publicly available, not something that other people would be seeing. And I'm seeing now why that's a mistake, why I really need to treat everything like it's a complete build. Yeah, I can see that now. So 75 rems, and then we'll make sure that this has some margin. Yeah, and I guess that'll be fine. I don't think it matters. Do we even need a copyright statement or a footer or anything like that? There, problem solved. Who am I stealing from? Me? There. Now we don't have to worry about it. So we still have a little bit of space here, but that's fine. It still looks 10,000 times better than if we didn't have a minimum height. And then if we are searching, scroll all the way to the bottom. So it does go all the way to the bottom. That's fine. Well, we could actually just put our padding back on the body. There. Yeah, I think this looks fine. I think for a one-person database, this looks fine. So I think this is good for today. And I think tomorrow we can go ahead and style the search results, and then we're done with this project. I mean, the only thing that's really left are the things that I need to keep doing in the background, which is finishing my back catalog of transcripts, which I have 69 done so far. Every time I do a live stream, I immediately process, like today, as soon as I get done, I will immediately process today's. So I'm really just working through the back catalog. I think I have about a third. I think 69 is about a third. How many do I have left? No, I don't need to, I already know. It's like there's 248 minus 69. So I still have 179 to go. I think I'll be done by September, maybe August. So, yeah. This looks great. This looks fine. And Malik is asking if if I have any plans on starting the spinning content again. So do you mean like yarn or fiber spinning? I think that's what you mean. I don't do a lot of spinning these days. I just don't have the time for it, so I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. Right now, I'm so focused on earning a living. That's what I'm focused on. Freelancing, consulting, and the likes. Paying the rent, keeping Heidi in kibbles and snacks. Yeah. So I still have all my fiber. I actually am in the process. I'm in the process the last few, well, since last November, I went through a huge destash of my yarn and fiber collection, and I sold a lot of yarn, a little bit of fiber, a lot of yarn. I need to start going through the fiber next. Although there's a place in Minneapolis called Minneapolis Fiber Works, and I made a huge donation to them. So I think I cut my fiber collection in half by just donating to them. And I think I sold about 3/4 of the yarn that I owned, and I still own a lot of yarn. And I spent all day yesterday taking pictures, going through my stash and listing things on eBay. Let me show you. Would you like to see? Hang on, I'll show you. Here's eBay. It has been a spectacular place to sell yarn. Oh my gosh. I haven't sold anything in a while. So I got 26 things listed yesterday. Project bags, here's some sock blockers, a ton more yarn I got listed. Some bags, purses that I had, a pair of shoes that I bought online a couple of years ago and they never fit. Yeah, so I have a lot. I have a bunch of yarn and I will show you. I'll show you everything that I sold. You're going to be shocked or not. I don't know. Not in the last 90 days. Let's do custom. So I started selling at Thanksgiving time last year. It was November 23rd. So let's just go November 1st until now. Hang on. This is everything that I've sold in the last, 7, 8 months. Look at all of this yarn. Oh my gosh. So much yarn. Knitting needles. Just some colored pencils that I had. I used to have a circular sock knitting machine. So I had these 2 books. They were awful. They were recommended. They were awful. Actually, I hated I loved the idea of learning how to use a circular sock knitting machine. It is so stressful. I spent hours of my life trying to learn how to use that thing, and I never once got a complete pair of socks out of it. The heel turns were so hard. I would rather just knit the socks myself. I am much, much better at knitting socks myself. But look at all of this yarn. I sold some makeup brushes. Tons of yarn for dyeing I sold. I had a bunch of stamps that I sold. Look at all of this. I had 3 of these Lands' End tote bags. Why did I need 3 tote bags? I still don't know. Look at all of this. Some project bags. These are some wire sock blockers. I don't need a 6 sock blocker set. I had these sock blockers. Here's the other book. I sold electronics. I had extra cameras, a GoPro. I never even opened this GoPro. Well, like I opened it, but I never once even used it. A Stream Deck. I sold the Nintendo Switch. That was hard to sell, but I never used it. It sat for 2 years. I never used it. Cameras, knitting needles, look at everything that I sold. It was incredible how much stuff I sold. So, and you should see my Facebook Marketplace. Oh my gosh. Do you want to see it? I'll show you. I had a spectacular couple of weeks on Facebook Marketplace. Oh my gosh. The stuff I got, I gave away some stuff but mostly I was selling things. I'll show you. It's honestly spectacular, the amount of stuff I was able to get rid of. So I sold this tool chest right here. I got it listed and I sold it within 5 minutes of listing it. I couldn't even believe it. I got it cleaned out in an evening and I was like, I'm tired, I'm cranky, I want to go to bed. And I was like, no, it's clean. Just take some pictures, stick it on Facebook Marketplace. Hopefully you'll get rid of it in the next couple of days. Within 5 minutes, it was sold. I had so many people asking for it. So, and he came and got it immediately. He came and got it within the hour. I think he just lived in West St. Paul. This has been sitting and taking up space in my closet for years. I got rid of this. I gave this away. It had a lot of scratches and dings and dents on it. This is a teleprompter that I bought maybe a year and a half ago, 22 years ago, a year and a half ago, something like that. I think about it 2 years ago, I bought it. Sold that like within a day. I had these extra microphones. I'd had these for over a decade. Sold those within about 2 days. This Cricut, oh, I want to be crafty so bad, and I am crafty to a certain extent. This I got rid of within 3 or 4 days. This ladder, why did I have a ladder in my apartment? I live in an apartment. Why did I need a 6-foot ladder? This has been sitting in my hallway closet for 6 years. I finally sold that. This dumbbell set I gave away for free. This went instantly. I wish it had clicks on the listing because you could see this. I had hundreds of clicks within minutes on this dumbbell set. And then these are old. I sold these a couple of years ago. This is a blending board, and this was my original spinning wheel. But yeah, I had a heck of a week. I did all of this. Yeah, this was June 11th, June already. It's like the end of July already. So this was June 11th, June 9th, June 9th, June 9th, June 9th, June 5th, June 5th. Yeah, all of this stuff was sold in less than a week. It was incredible. So if you're thinking about decluttering and selling stuff between eBay and Facebook Marketplace, I don't know how you cannot I don't know how you could not get rid of your stuff. People will buy anything, but also just take some good pictures, right? Let me see. Do I have pictures? Can I even show the pictures? I think so. Just take some nice pictures, give it a fair price. Look at that. It was so easy. It was so easy. I can't even believe it. So anyways, my singular goal yesterday was just to take pictures, just to get things listed. I have like 3 bins full of stuff. I still have some more things to list today. I think I have like 7 more things to list today. And then I just need to like do a sweep of my closets again. I feel like I could go through my yarn collection again. There's still more stuff I could get rid of in the yarn collection. And believe me when I tell you, I still have plenty of yarn. I'm nowhere near not having yarn. But I really feel like there's more that I could get rid of. There's more I could sell. And the great thing about decluttering and destashing is that it's not a process that lasts forever. It's a finite process because once you're done selling and decluttering, that's it. It's done. You're over. I had like a minute where I was like, should I try to be an eBay reseller? No, absolutely not. That's not the side hustle that I want to have. What I want is just to reclaim my space, my closets, my bookshelves, my living room. Yeah, it's been an incredible experience. My goal, because it's been years and years and years of overconsumption, because I had a salary and I had a bank account that was automatically replenished every 2 weeks and I was saving. That's the other thing is I rationalized all of that spending, all of that overconsumption. Well, first of all, because I pay cash for everything. I don't have any credit card debt. I pay my credit card balance in full every single month. I just don't use credit. Number two, I don't have a car payment. Number three, I was saving. I was putting money in my savings account. So after the bills were paid, after I was, went to the grocery store and I had money in my savings account, I just bought whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. And I knew that I was over consuming, but I totally rationalized it because I was basically debt free and I had a savings account. The problem with that is, well, first of all, now that I'm self-employed, I could just cry when I think about the amount of money I could still have in my savings account if I hadn't spent all that money on crap I didn't need. But also, the feeling that I had last year, especially in November when I first started, how overwhelmed I felt by my space, how much stuff I had in my space. My living room was basically not usable because I had so much stuff, bins, baskets, and this yarn collection. It was mostly yarn at the time. It so much yarn that I knew that if I knit every single day for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be able to knit all of that yarn in my lifetime. It was just way too much. And I finally feel like I have reclaimed my space and like my peace of mind and my emotional energy again, because I feel like I live in a real home. And I'll tell you this, it wasn't easy. It was easy initially to go through and pick out the things that I wanted to sell. But there were definitely things where I was like, no, absolutely not. I could never get rid of that. But then once I started selling and I built up this momentum and it just seemed like it was getting easier and easier and easier, I had no problem parting with things that initially I was like, no, absolutely not. I need this. I want this. I will never get rid of it. It is so much easier to get rid of things once you build up that momentum. So if you feel like you need to declutter, get rid of things, sell things, make some money, if you're sitting on inventory like I am, just start slowly, part with the things that you know you're okay getting rid of. And I promise you, it gets easier once you build a little momentum, you get a little cash in your pocket, it gets easier and easier and easier. I don't know. It's been a great experience. My goal is to have everything done and decluttered by Thanksgiving. That will basically be the 1 year mark, which is it's a very reasonable amount of time after years and years of overspending and over-consuming to give yourself a year to do the full decluttering process, to take the pictures, to do the listings, to sell on Facebook Marketplace, oh my gosh, this past winter, the number of times that I had to drive to the post office in St. Paul in the winter in a snowstorm. I will not do that again this winter. I need this process to be done by Thanksgiving this year because I cannot do that again. It was very stressful last year. The amount of times that I had to drive to the post office in the snow in a snowstorm. I just don't want to do that anymore. But I feel like I've sold enough stuff that we're in a really good place now. And everything moving forward from now until Thanksgiving, I just think it's going to be so much easier because the bulk of it's gone. So, well, thank you for listening to that. It's been a huge thing in my life to do this selling and decluttering. And yeah, my space just feels completely different. So there's that. Yeah, Monique is also a knitter. I mean, I would love to know, Monique, how do you feel about your yarn collection? And please, I'm not here to shame anybody and their collections and the stuff that they have and the stuff that they love and the stuff that they don't want to get rid of. There is no shaming here. This is me and my personal experience and what I needed to do to sort of clear my emotional clutter. But I would be curious to hear what other people think about their own personal experiences with over consuming and the stuff. We love our stuff, right? We love our stuff. Yeah, peace of mind is important and decluttering is so freeing. It really is. It's if you haven't had that experience yet where you clean up your physical space and see how much it impacts your emotional space, it makes a big difference. So anyways, okay. Well, that was a lot, but that was fun to show you guys also. And I genuinely yesterday had a really good day taking pictures and listing on eBay. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So and I'll give you the link to my eBay. So if you want to take a look at the stuff that I have, you're welcome to. I don't expect anybody here to buy any yarn from me, but if you're curious about my eBay store, we're kind of killing it. We're kind of killing it on eBay. So here's the thing about eBay. Take really good pictures. This is all natural light. Just take really good pictures. It's all natural light, and adjust your mindset around how you're pricing things. The money has already been spent. All this stuff that I bought and that I've had in my home for years, the money is gone. The money has been spent. If you price your things fairly and you take really good pictures and write good descriptions, you will sell your stuff. There is an entire audience, an entire market of people out there that wants to buy used. They don't want to run out and buy new things. They want to buy used things. They want to, what's the word I'm thinking of? You know what I'm talking about. There's a huge group of people out there who want to buy not used. What's the word that I'm thinking of? They want to buy, you know what I mean. It's not that it's used, it's just that it's not new. So, and Monique says, I sort according to projects that I want to complete. Then when I feel the need to get more, then I look at the projects that I have created. Saves a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, I haven't bought any yarn in over a year. Maybe it's been a year and a half. And it feels really good. I mean, it feels really good. Right now, my spending is mostly based on necessity because I'm self-employed again and I don't have a bank account that automatically replenishes every 2 weeks. But it also feels really good I just feel like I'm in this era of my life where I'm like not spending money and I like it. It feels good. So there's that. Yeah. Take a look. Maybe there's something you'll like. I don't know. But I'll keep you posted. And if you ever want me to do like a little clinic, I don't know, what's people's experiences reselling? Me, I have incredible success on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. I haven't done Craigslist in a while, but I've definitely sold things on Craigslist. eBay, for sure, fantastic results. What's other people's experiences? I think it's all about how you approach it, your attitude towards customer service, your attitude towards dealing with the public. If you have a good attitude, you're pricing things fairly, you're taking good pictures, you're responsive, I don't know how you can go wrong. Just my personal opinion. So Monique says there has to be a strong justification for any purchase, baby shower, chemo hats, wedding present, etc. Yeah, I think this is the next this is the next phase of my life that I've moved into. There has to be a strong justification for any purchase. It has to be a need, not just a want. Because I guess I'm just speaking for me personally, but my shopping history, my overconsumption history is very tightly tied to my emotional state. And it's a coping mechanism. We got to find a better way to cope, people. Well, me. So, anyways, well, that was fun. What do we think? You know, I don't know if our YouTube database is pretty, but I don't know if it matters. I think tomorrow I'll feel better about how pretty it is once we get the results styled. I think it's fine for being a local database, and I think it also gives us a good sense for how I want this to look when we rebuild a public version of the API and actually put it on my website. So here's the plan. Tomorrow, we finish styling the results. Next weekend, we're going to start working on the Jane Austen database, which I think I already showed you guys. I have all the books downloaded. I've already sort of gone through and audited all the transcripts, gathered up all the data. So it's going to be very similar to the YouTube transcript database, where an excerpt or a chunk, as ChatGPT likes to call it, is a timestamp in the transcript. The chunk for the Jane Austen database is a sentence. We're also going to be building like basically an e-reader. So when you search for something and you click on it, you're going to go to that point in the book. It'll be highlighted, but you'll be in the chapter and you can continue to read. So it's going to be like a little e-reader. We definitely need it to be responsive, can't just be a desktop thing. So I have lots of ideas for how that could look. I think it's going to be really fun. Once we finish the Jane Austen database, which is going to be SQLite and an Express server, they're going to be separate. The Express server is something I've been meaning to do for a long time. I've wanted to build an Express server where, well, first of all, we could do the Jane Austen database, and then I could build another public API for YouTube transcript database on my website, but also just to have an Express server kind of handy if I want to pull in, let's say, I mean, I've been talking for 2 years about embedding the Instagram API on my website, but I never do it because I don't want to expose my API key. It's so much easier to do when you have an Express server where you can hide your API key. Just to have an Express server sort of sitting there in the wings, handy if I want to mask an API, or now that I'm using Codex to build databases, I'm like, well, what else can I build? And then we have an Express server to build our API. So I don't know. I have a lot of ideas. And yeah, that's just the next couple of things that I have planned. Can we get an API? Does eBay have a developer API? It must. eBay developer API. Okay. Important update. eBay's API integrations will be modified to address data handling requirements. Okay. So what if once we build our Express server, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. Remember this? Remember Fiber and Craft? This was the homepage clone that we built to mimic the layout for nitpicks.com. Since my eBay tends to be mostly yarn and knitting tools and things like that, but like purses and things also, what if we got an API key for my seller account? We don't need to like send data back to eBay. We just want to do a GET request, right? Once we build our Express server, we could mask our API key really easily, and we could embed our eBay posts on the Fiber and Craft website. And then if people found Fiber and Craft in search or whatever, I'm not saying that they would, but what if they did and they saw that there were products, they could click buy now or buy on eBay and it would send them right over to the eBay listing, right? We need to do more of this. Get up and running with the eBay APIs and start innovating within the e-commerce space. I think we should think about doing this. I think that little Express server, I mean, we could do eBay and Instagram right off the top of my head. And then we could add an Instagram feed to the bottom. Well, we could add an Instagram feed then to the bottom here, which this was all, I have an Instagram just for Fiber and Craft, but I didn't want to bother with an API key or actually embedding anything down here. So once we get our Express server site, figured out, we could do that. We need to do more of that. I've been talking about it this whole time. We need to do more of that. So what do we think? The juices are flowing. I love it. I love it. Okay. Everybody, Have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Come back tomorrow. We're going to finish styling the search results. And then next weekend, we get to start the Jane Austen database, which I'm pretty excited about. Okay. Have a great day. Bye-bye.